We are live.
All right. Hello, syndicates. Jay and Christopher here. We're going to be going over the NHL trade deadline and give our thoughts on the remaining part of the season. But we also have a surprise guest that's going to be joining us today.
I like surprise guest.
Yeah, we have Yana from We Got the Chocolates joining us.
We do?
I thought you were going to set that up.
Oops.
You didn't get that done?
No. I knew I forgot something this week.
Damn it. Well, never mind. It's just the two of us then. I was really looking forward to that.
We don't need Yana. All the sexy right here. You're all good. But no, you're right, Jay. We are going to talk NHL trade deadline. That passed yesterday at 3 p.m. There was some good trades. There was some interesting trades. And there was some trades we went, ha ha. What's up?
2 days ago, 3 p.m.
Oh, well, 2 days ago. Whatever. Friday, Saturday. Same difference.
Hi, Jeff. We're going to go back a little bit because there were a lot of big trades before the trade deadline this year. We're going to time travel all the way back to the yesteryears. Christopher's birthday, February 19th, 22nd. When are we looking at?
February 26th, back when I was a wee young lad at the age of 35.
The 26th, all the way back for the Timo Meier trade.
Oh, yes. Timo Meier getting traded along with Scott Harrington, Timur Abragamov, Santeri Hataka, Zachary Edmond, and a 2024 fifth-round pick. San Jose also retained 50% of the salary. And San Jose received Andreas Johansson, Fabian Zetterlund, Shakir Muhammadilan, Nikita Ohetakin. That's not even right, but we're going with it. A conditional 2023 first-round pick, a conditional 2024 second-round pick, and a 2024 seventh-round pick.
It was Timo Meier for half a salary retain, conditional first, conditional second. That's the meat of the trade there.
Yep.
Did San Jose get enough for that?
It doesn't feel like it. I don't know the other guys that well, and there's a lot going on in that trade, but if that second round becomes the first, which I think is possible, then I think you have more of a likelihood. But the idea of building around young guys is keeping them, and Timo Meier is only 26, and I just don't get it. Other than the going hard for Bedard, but
if we look at this with our 2020 goggles, that we already know what we know, and not when this trade happened, I think they got enough out of it. But this happened well before the trade deadline, so they had to have had more suitors for Timo Meier, and at that point, it's still a bidding war. So it doesn't feel like they got a whole lot for it. But if we look back at if all the moves still happened and then this trade took place, I think it's a fair deal here, because you're going to lose a guy for nothing.
I agree. Jack, could you not do that?
But Timo Meier heading over to the New Jersey Devils. New Jersey Devils already a top team in the league, and it did make them stronger.
And there goes my ring light.
Yay!
I'm a little bit darker on that side. Hold on one second. Sorry. I went to turn it back on, and I felt the plug, and holy shit, it was hot. So no ring light.
All right. Well, You got half of you on the dark side.
But anyway, New Jersey's going to is already a force to be reckoned with, and you add Timo Meyer to that offense, and they're going to need to be because the top of the East is brutally hard.
Not even the top. I think they're deep all the way down to 12, 13 teams.
Yeah. The East is a dog and pony show, that's for sure.
Next trade that came up, the Chicago Blackhawks get rid of Jack Mike Johnson, back to Colorado, back to the team where he wins the cup. We have the Johnson and Johnson defensive pairing, yet again a possibility. That almost locks Colorado in for another Stanley Cup there. Real excited. I know it's a depth defenseman move, which is going to prove important, and I'm a big fan of it. I'm glad he's back in Colorado.
Yep, same. I mean, it's ultimately a nothing trade for Chicago. They were just going hard for Bedard.
Can you explain to me the Tampa Bay Nashville Predator trade and what the hell happened with that on the 26th?
Well, Tanner got traded to Tampa Bay for Cal Foote, a 2025 top 10 protected first-round pick, a second-round pick in 2024, a 2023 third, fourth, and fifth-round pick. That's a lot for Tanner Janot.
I'll take Cal Foote anyway.
Yeah, this is
It's questionable. It's questionable what happened there. Nashville did good, get in a lot back for nothing. We also have the Blackhawks striking once again on the 27th, getting rid of Jake McCabe over to the Toronto Maple Leafs. A conditional first and second pick going back the other way, and 50%. It's a good haul for Jake McCabe, but that's the type of defenseman that Toronto needed. And Toronto's got to be all in, at least to win a playoff round.
Yeah, I mean, the organization has said it, the GM has said it, the ownership has said it. This is a do or die season for them, for the core they have. If they lose in the first round again, which it sucks for them because it's not like they could be the second best team in the East or third best team and then face fucking Tampa, which is brutal. But they have to win a playoff series, and this is one of the many trades they did that showed that. I think the Ryan O'Reilly was before this, so they got Ryan O'Reilly. They need to do a lot, and they mortgage a lot in their future, but I don't blame them.
The next trade, the only reason we're gonna bring it up is because it was with Buffalo. Josh Bloom gone, Riley Stillman in. You won't see either of them in the show.
I mean, Riley Stillman's already playing. So you
Is
can't
he?
say that.
Is he?
He's out on the ice.
What happened?
Well, they had the 7-1 loss, and then they beat Tampa Bay.
Yeah, but what happened to him?
Oh, he got fucking annihilated.
Got the life punched out of him. He's
Yeah,
done. He's done.
That was bad.
He comes back from that. He's done.
Riley
It was a brutal beatdown.
Yeah, he got his ass whooped. I appreciate him coming in. Barely knows his teammates, sticking up for his teammates like he did, but whoo-wee.
He literally left it all out there on the ice.
Yeah, he did.
Edmonton finally moves on from Jesse Puljujarvi. I don't know a lot or anything about Patrick Puistella.
Yeah, it was just a move to get rid of Puljujarvi.
But yes, he just wasn't performing there, needed a change of scenery. It's a fair trade going back.
Yeah, no, I don't blame Carolina for taking the chance on a guy at Puljujarvi who could have a fucking cat. I don't know if you hear Onyx just meowing in the background constantly. This is par for the course, but No, I like the trade for Carolina. They need a little bit more oomph, and if they're going to compete with Boston more than anything. But yeah, good trade.
Marcus Johansson away from Washington with the Minnesota Wild. He's a solid player. One of those character guys that you need on your team. Good pickup there for a third round. The Toronto Maple Leafs making a move with the Washington Capitals as well. Washington Capitals get Rasmus Sandin. I was shocked to see Toronto get rid of him. Gustafsson, more of a veteran guy. They got the first round pick coming back for it, but I really didn't understand that move at 358, and it wasn't until 451 where it started to make sense on what happened.
Oh, yeah. Even with that, obviously, part of that is a salary cap thing, and they got that first, which is Boston's first, so it's not even Washington's first, but interesting deal. I'm not, I don't have a lot to say about it. They might miss Sandine in the future, but again, it's not about the future.
I take him on the team, although Rasmus's are having a hard time staying in Buffalo here, but if that gives us another Rasmus to move away from before we do something stupid with Dowling, I'll bring in all the Rasmuses to save him. But yeah, again, that was at 4. Less than an hour later, we have Luke Schenn coming from Vancouver over to Toronto. So more veteran with Eric Gustafsson. They now have Luke Schenn and Jake McCabe added to their defensive core.
Yeah, that's a really solid move for them. Third feels like a slight
dynamic of their D completely.
Yeah, but Luke Schenn, you and I had talked, and then I don't remember if it was on here or not. Luke Schenn was a guy that I had mentioned about Buffalo going after in a relatively small deal. I would like to see that to help solidify defense. They end up going with Riley Stillman. We'll see how that goes, but I like that deal for them. Luke Schenn is a Stanley Cup winner. He's not what he used to be, obviously. He's up there, but he's a really good defenseman, and it's a solid trade.
So if we look at that trade in isolation, who got the better defensive upgrade here? Toronto with Luke Schenn or Edmonton getting rid of Tyson Barrie and bringing in Mattias Ekholm?
In a vacuum, you asked me who got the better defenseman, I would say probably Edmonton.
Okay.
If you talk about the trades, that might be a different story. But I think I take Ekholm over Schenn now.
Well, they got rid of Tyson Barrie, and Tyson Barrie is one of the best power play defensemen in the league. He's just outstanding. Do you need that in Edmonton?
No.
They got some weapons. There's a few names there. They're a little more obscure. People don't know them that well. Like Leon Draisaitl.
I know that bum.
Adding Mattias Ekholm, who isn't a huge step down. He's still a good puck moving defenseman, but his defensive reliability is a huge step up from Tyson Barrie. I think it helps the team tremendously.
Yeah, they gave up a lot, including a first-round pick, but I don't blame them. At Nashville, on the other hand, I think we just saw them punt the season for the most part this season.
And so those were four trades that we talked. Five trades on the 28th. Was there anything else that happened on the 28th? I think we're done with that, and we can move on, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. No, we can't. There's that one other big trade that happened.
Oh, Gustav Nyquist.
Gustav Nyquist getting moved again for a 5th-round pick. Good job, Columbus. I'm getting a 5th-round pick for a guy who probably isn't worth it.
Didn't they give up a first for him?
Probably.
Patrick Kane moved on the 28th. Yeah, he wanted to be a New York Ranger, so Chicago really didn't have any leverage. And the Rangers took advantage of that because it's a conditional second, 4th, shitheads, and Chicago retains 50% of the salary. I actually think Arizona got more out of the deal I know it's a third and not the second, but they're retaining 25%. I think they did better than Chicago did, and Chicago gave up Patrick Kane.
Yeah. Unfortunately, like you said, Chicago had zero leverage in this trade, and the Rangers, for right or wrong, they just said, hey, we understand. We could probably sign him in the offseason anyway. If he wants to be traded, if you want to get anything for him, he's the only team he wants to go to because of the no movement clause. Chicago did good to even get a potential first-round pick out of it, because that second could become a first. It would be a bit unlikely, I think, if I remember correctly, but
it's the Rangers making the conference finals, and the Rangers are all in with this move.
Yeah.
If it weren't this, they added Tarasenko too. They're all in. Their goal is a Stanley Cup. So.
Oh yeah, no, I don't agree with that. But do I realistically think they can make the conference finals this year in the East? I'm not so sure. But no, Chicago got good job, Arizona. I mean, weaponize your salary cap. I don't know why Buffalo didn't do that a little bit.
Oh, let's not say good job, Arizona. I think it's somewhere like 35% of their cap just to get to the floor
is bullshit.
Are players that won't ever play.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, you say, like, don't say it's a good job, Arizona. It's like, well, if that's the rules that the NHL is going to play with, no, good job, Arizona. I disagree with it on moral aspect of it, but they're playing by the rules. That's on the NHL.
Yeah, we had that in Fantasy League, too, one year, and then we're like, no, fuck it.
But we changed the rules.
It's a messed up situation. Arizona's a fucking dumpster fire. The NHL needs to step in and take care of this shit.
Yeah.
Because it's embarrassing.
Absolutely.
But we jump up to March, and I know you hated that the first trade in March.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Columbus Blue Jackets traded Vladislav Gavrikov and Jonas Korpisalo for a conditional 2023 first-round pick, which I don't know that condition, 2024 third round, and Jonathan Quick.
Yeah, you hated that. I hear that Quick didn't know anything about it beforehand, and you can't do that. You can't do that to Jonathan Quick. Mm-hmm. But as far as the trade, I don't want to get into the behind-the-scenes stuff. Let's pretend that LA did their job properly with Jonathan Quick and just look at the trade. I like the trade for both teams. I like the first-round pick in for Columbus. Because Korpisalo, they've already decided that they're going to go with Elvis and not Korpisalo. I disagree with that, but they've made up their mind. They're going.
That's what they did, yeah.
Can't have both of them. You trade one of them, and you got a first round back for it. I think that's a fantastic move by Columbus. LA, I think, gets a goaltending upgrade bringing in Korpisalo, and he's young. He can be there for a while. Gavrikov's got one of the better plus minuses in Columbus.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's one of the better league-wide, one of the better for Columbus. It's still a minus, but it's from Columbus.
Oh, yeah, but it's Columbus.
I think they did well with it. I just don't like how they handled Jonathan Quick if the rumors with that are true.
Yeah, even if they aren't, unless he straight out said he wanted to be traded, I don't like it anyway. We've talked about loyalty and players need to show loyalty to teams, and I'm like, why? Because shit like this at any point, what would be, why should they show loyalty when a team can just do that when, but nonetheless. As far as at first, yeah, I hated this trade for the Kings. I've softened on that stance a bit. I still think giving up a first was a lot, but they did get a goaltending upgrade. Korpisalo's actually played well this year, despite him being in Columbus. He's .500 record. He has a pretty solid GAA. Has a save percent. I think his GAA is a little high, but again, he's played for Columbus. And when I did my research on Gavrikov, he's a stay-at-home defenseman, something that the Kings sorely lack right now.
So then we had Arizona trading away Ghost. They brought in a third. Ghost isn't what he was 3-4 years ago.
No,
But we're both still a fan of Shane. I think he'll do well with Carolina. That's a hell of a team that he just went on.
Mm-hmm.
But another big defenseman there from Arizona was traded an hour later. Chicken off to the Ottawa Senators. His first game there, goal and assist. Good job, Jacob Chikrin. The guy's a beast. I know his trade value just got kind of ridiculous. They ended up getting a first and a conditional second and a second for him. So not quite as much as they were originally asking for. It's still a pretty decent haul. Chikrin's a beast.
Yeah, Chikrin's a beast. I think Arizona's haul's actually pretty good, all things considered. The one knock on Chikrin is he can't stay healthy. He misses a lot of time, which he does. But when he's in, and I'll be honest with you, I hate this trade as a Buffalo Sabre fan because that's really helps solidify Ottawa. And Ottawa, I don't know if people have been paying attention, is really fucking hot right now.
Yeah, fuck them.
Yeah, agreed. But
they now have 2 defensemen on the team, so it's 50% better, 100% better.
Yeah.
No, Chikrin is awesome. I remember watching him down in their juniors and just dominating on the power play that they had with Pavel Zacha. And why am I drawing a blank on his name from Philly?
Ramries? No.
Yeah, the one that runs his mouth a lot, little guy, but is kind of pesky. I can't think of his name. Fuck me.
I can't either. I know what you're talking about, but
anyway, another Buffalo trade at the beginning of March. Lose Eric Portillo. Oh, look at all the goaltending prospects Buffalo has. Yeah, hold on a minute. Because I don't think we're done here with goaltending prospects just vanishing from Buffalo's pool. The first one, Eric Portillo, is gone. We got a 3rd round pick. I still don't know how I feel about it, so we'll move on.
Yeah, I'll say my piece real quick, and I'll just say that I understand the trade. They seem like they're pretty hard on Devin Levi and UPL as their future. Devin Levi more so. And Portillo's kind of the odd man out with that. They got back the pick that they originally sent, basically. They spent a 3rd. They got a 3rd. I'm okay with it.
Any other March 1st trades that kind of stand out to you?
Pittsburgh giving up a 2nd for Michael Granlund seems high.
I like Granlund. I think it's fair.
Yeah.
If you would have told me a 3rd, I probably would have been a little happier with it. But that 2nd round pick, what are the odds that it's going to be an NHL player anyway? Granlund gives them a top 6 forward there.
Yep, I do agree. And other than that, I mean, other than the Nemestikov, there's not really much else.
Okay, March 2nd. Holy shit, we're not even to the deadline yet.
And we have a pretty big doozy at the very start of the day at 8:22 a.m. Tyler Bertuzzi, with Detroit retaining 50% of his salary, went to the Boston Bruins.
I want Tyler Bertuzzi to go too. He's already that type of player that could turn in real quick to a fucking shithead.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of grit to him. It's not going to take a lot of Boston pushing to get him to
be an asshole.
Yeah.
And Detroit in return got protected first, 2020 and a 2025 fifth. It seemed like Tyler Bertuzzi's been out of the cards for Detroit for a while now. I think they've been kind of trammed for a year or two. That's a pretty solid haul what they got. I don't know what the protections are on that pick. I'm assuming top 10 or lottery protected or something along those lines. But solid haul for a guy who wasn't going to be there after this year.
We have Jacob Voracek being moved to Arizona. Holy shit, that's a huge player for Arizona. Oh, he's not playing anymore. They just wanted this contract so they could stay at the floor. I think their goal is to operate at the floor with only 3 players on the team. They're close. They're close to it.
Well, it depends on what your definition of players are. If you mean 3 actual players, they're close. If you mean actually 3 good players, I think that might be giving them credit.
But John Gillies for that contract. Just fuck you, Arizona. And then, didn't we just see Jonathan Quick's name on here?
We did, and he got traded again the next day. Columbus didn't get anything for him, but I appreciate what they did, sending him over to the Vegas Golden Knights with Columbus retaining 50%, trading him for Michael Hutchinson at 2025 7th. It's amazing that Columbus, who had him for all of 16 hours, treated Jonathan Quick better than the Kings did. But nonetheless,
I really wonder. Nobody told Jonathan shit about anything that was going on, but I really wonder if this was basically a 3-team trade to start off with, or at least close to it. It had to have been with the timing of these trades and how quick that turned around. But Jonathan Quick going on to a Stanley Cup contending team here,
and it's a good flyer for Vegas to take, even though Quick has not been good this year at all. They have been significantly better. The Kings have been with Phoenix Copley in that.
Not to the playoffs yet. We haven't seen Jonathan Quick yet.
Well, you're right. But
I don't care how old he is. I don't care how poorly he's playing in the regular season. It's playoff time. I want Jonathan Quick.
Right. But Vegas has suffered a astronomically high amount of goaltending injuries, including their pretty good rookie they had going this year. They're starting Laurent Brossoit right now, which is not a name that you want to be starting as your 4th goaltender. So good trade for Vegas there.
Yeah. Another Buffalo move here, not much to speak of, but Anders Bjork. I'm happy with Kevin Adams with this and holding up. Bjork wanted an opportunity to still be an NHL player. He wasn't going to get that opportunity in Buffalo. He'll have a chance there in Chicago for that. So future considerations, trading him for nothing. We traded him because Kevin Adams wasn't going to be an asshole to him. Thank you for that.
I do appreciate that as
well. I'm a big fan of the next trade. I know you kind of looked at it and were just like, whatever. I think Nick Bukestad is a forward that plays the type of game that Edmonton does not have another forward that can match it. They have physical forwards. They have offensive forwards. They don't have anybody that's a combination of dedicated defensively, can contribute offensively, and still plays a heavy game. I think it's a big pickup for Edmonton.
At first, I looked at it as I don't really care, but the more we talked about it, the more I look into it, that's a type of play, and the West is incredibly wide open this year. Maybe not in a good way because a lot of teams are bad. But that's a small move that you look back on in a year or two. If Edmonton makes the finals or something, that's a trade that you could look back on and go, that was the trade that put them over the top, along with their defensive pickup.
Max Domi got moved. He used to get bumped around for first round picks, and everybody was really high on Max Domi, and that it seems to get lower and lower and lower and lower every year. But he's in trade talks all the damn time too, so teams are still interested in him.
Yeah, and honestly, I think Dallas did a pretty good job of getting away not for Khudobin's contract, because Khudobin's not playing anymore, and a 2nd round pick. Domi is having a pretty solid, underrated season right now with 18 goals and 49 points. Good pickup for them.
How old is Dylan now?
Dylan Wells, I do not know.
If he's still under 25, then I'm probably a little bit more excited over that for Dallas than Max Domi.
1998 was his birth year, so he's at 25 on the dot. He'll be
Okay.
or will be.
Okay, so he's kind of pushing it there for his window, but it's not closed on him.
Now they got Ottinger anyway for a long time, so I don't think they necessarily have to worry about that.
Well, no, they're not. I'm just looking,
Right.
What's Dylan Wells going to be doing? Nick Bonino was in a trade that involved everybody's sister and draft picks. Nick Bonino ended up in Pittsburgh. I don't care all that much.
I think it means more for Pittsburgh than anybody. Bonino was part of their 2 cup teams. A bomb 6 guy that will help kind of solidify what they need right now. Not a great trade. I think Pittsburgh's probably going to be an odd team out eventually for the playoffs anyway. But we'll talk about that later. But I understand why they did it.
Another name, here's another small trade that nobody gives a fuck about, but we're Buffalo fans, so here's Curtis Lazar. Good luck, Jersey. That guy's he's proven to be an asshole.
Yeah.
Brendan Lemieux is getting moved around. Kind of surprised by that one with LA. Brendan Lemieux is, I know he's a shithead. He plays dirty, but we got playoffs coming up.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what you want, right?
Yeah.
What's the next big trade that you're looking at here?
Pittsburgh picking up Kulikov for Brock McGinn.
Yeah,
third.
I was wondering if you cared enough about that to bring that one up.
Again, another bottom end trade. I like this trade a bit more to the Bonino one. Pittsburgh's trying to do what they can with a rough cap thing. It's not the worst thing. He has 15 points and 86 hits on the season. Not gonna bring a lot, but maybe a little bit of stability on the 4th line.
No, he's a defenseman.
I thought he was a forward on the 3rd line, defense. Make myself look like an asshole. Why did I think he was a forward? The fuck was I thinking?
You know who is a forward though?
Let's see here. Oscar Sundqvist.
Where the hell did you jump up to?
I went one above what you're looking at.
All right. Well, I'm looking at Jordan Greenway.
Yeah.
Physical player that Buffalo desperately needs.
Yeah. Buffalo. Yeah, I agree. Greenway was coached by Granado on the under U18 men's development team, so there's history there. I think he also played with Tage Thompson, if I'm not mistaken. They're not going to be on the same line. He's a physical guy that Buffalo desperately needs. I like Jordan Greenway. I think that's a bit of a high price to pay, but Buffalo didn't give up any of their good prospects or any first round picks in this deal, so I'm perfectly fine with it.
You say Greenway and Thompson won't be playing together. I'm not completely sold on that. It depends on the health of the team.
Well, yeah, I meant from a regular
line. I need somebody up there that can play physical to play with Thompson and Skinner. Big Pussy's not going to do it. Jeff Skinner's not going to do it.
Yeah, but you going to take Tuck off that line?
No, I'm saying if something happens to Tuck.
Oh, which he is injured currently, but yeah.
That's why I'm bringing it up, So
yeah, but right now they seem like they have Jack.
And this is a guy, because of how much we're lacking this type of play, he can fit in on almost any line.
No, absolutely. And although I think right now Jack Quinn being on the first line, I don't think he's going to see much time there. But we'll talk about Buffalo in a bit.
On the first line too.
He is absolutely taking advantage of the opportunity. He has looked good.
Do you care enough about Troy Stetcher?
Where is that at?
Calgary. Another stupid move from Arizona.
I don't know the name that well, but I'm sure Calgary got the best of that deal.
Oh yeah, Nick Ritchie and Troy Stetcher are both bigger names.
Oh yes, no, that trade is important for one reason. That's the first time in NHL history brothers were traded for each other.
Oh, okay.
I did. Yep, I did know about that trade. I didn't realize Stetcher was part of it. Yeah, that's the first time that's ever happened. And if I'm Nick Ritchie, I'm calling Brett up and be like, fucker.
Dude, Yeah.
Calgary needs a lot right now. They're slipping pretty bad. Whew, man, that trade is a very interesting one in the offseason. But Calgary is currently out of the playoff spot the last I looked, which was yesterday, so I assume that's still going to be the case. But
Okay, well, what do you think about Andre Suster?
Are you purposely passing up the one?
Which one did I pass up?
Buffalo one. Or we kind of already talked about it. Rasmus Aspen.
No, that doesn't happen till later.
I have it after. Wait, which one? Which one are you looking at?
Did you pull up Sportsnet? You pulled up something else, didn't you?
No, I'm literally on Sportsnet right now.
Oh.
So what's the trade?
Andre Suster.
You talk about the Minnesota Anaheim deal?
Yep.
Yeah, no, I have on my thing. The Buffalo one is before that one. They're both at 3 p.m.
Yeah, I got a 3:15 and a 3:34.
That is not what I have. We're on the same website, folks. Well, let's talk about that. Andre Suster's I think Anaheim didn't get the haul they probably expected when they signed John Klingberg to a 1-year deal, but he has fallen off pretty hard, like bad, and so getting what they got, I think was pretty fair.
The Nikita Nesterenko could be an interesting thing. They have the rights to him. He could end up being the interesting part of this piece, but right now, they were able to move John Klingberg and get something out of it because he's been a shell of his former self. Nesterenko could end up being an exciting part of this later down the road. But kind of a shot in the dark with it too, though.
Yep.
So the big Buffalo trade that you alluded to, Austin Strand for Chase Prisky.
Ooh, that's going to be the one we talk about for years to come.
Yeah. Oh, I look forward to revisiting this over and over throughout the years. Remember that time that we got, what's his? Austin Strand. Rasmus Asplund got moved, and I was looking at this and scratching my head going, what the fuck is happening? But like the timing that everything is reported here officially isn't the timing that I was getting the trades in. I first heard the Rasmus Asplund, and then later the Greenway, and it wasn't until I heard Greenway before Asplund started making sense a little bit to me, because I'm wondering if that would have been Asplund was going to be the odd man out, was going to be sent back down and put on waivers.
I mean, most likely since they got a 2 years from now 7th rounder out of it, obviously Buffalo just decided to say, hey, we're going to send you a team where you can get some playing time. Buffalo did that a couple times in these trades. They said, hey, all right, we'll send you a team that we know you can get playing time that maybe, and, do what you need to do. Hate to see him go, but.
Well, there's a lot of Sabre fans who hated Rasmus Asplund, and here's another one where I just don't understand it. He's a defensively reliable player. He's not the flashiest guy out there, but he is an NHL caliber player. What, do we have too many of those?
Yeah, right.
A 7th round pick. I'm sorry, you can't expect that to turn into an NHL caliber player. Rasmus Asplund is one. We did not come out ahead in this by any stretch.
No, not even a little bit.
And that was basically it. There were a couple smaller ones that came in after the deadline, but for future considerations. But that does it for the trade deadline this year.
Yeah. The trade deadline day itself was pretty blah, but the lead up to it was pretty hectic. A lot more trades than I honestly kind of expected with the flat cap that's been around.
A shit ton more.
Yeah.
This trade deadline this year has been like the previous 5 years combined. in terms of player moves and excitement.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Patty Kane reuniting with Artemi Panarin. I know he hasn't had the best start with the Rangers so far, but I don't think that will be a problem going forward, depending on how bad that hip injury is.
So who was your top 3 big winners on trade deadline day?
I like Carolina's.
Let's get trade deadline general time frame.
Yeah. Obviously the Rangers. I mean, they got Patrick Kane for
jumped up to
literally nothing.
Obvious, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I might as well get the obvious out of the way. I like what Carolina did a lot. I think they got some really, really nice hauls, and not for like a ton. And honestly, I like Toronto's moves. I think those are 3 of my biggest winners. There's a couple other teams I can name in there, but I think those 3 are the ones that stand out the most.
Well, we agree.
Not including one that honestly is a big winner, but fuck them. But
well, we agree on 2 of them, and no, not even the fuck them. I don't think Boston did a whole lot, honestly. Toronto, New York Rangers did big, and the other team that I thought really helped solidify their team is the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, they were my 4th team.
I'm really happy. I think they made the right moves. I know it's not plentiful moves. They're not the huge superstar name moves, but they're the moves that improve your team in the way that it needed improved.
Mm-hmm.
That's goaltending. that's an issue, but apparently, no matter what they do, it's going to be an issue. So,
yeah, I mean that's unfortunately for them. That seems like a organizational issue going forward. I don't know what they're going to do about that, but no, I agree. Edmonton's right there with those 3 teams I named, and in a very congested West there where. Outside of if Landeskog comes back, which I've been hearing rumors he might not this season, and Colorado just doesn't seem like themselves. You know, you don't count them out, but they have not had a good season for their standards. That West is wide open, and those types of moves in the West, that could Edmonton. Remember, Edmonton was a Western Conference finalist last year. It's not like they can't win the playoffs. They have shown that.
I think that 8th spot is going to come down to Colorado, Nashville, or Calgary. I don't see one of the other teams dropping down that are above Colorado currently, at least dropping down out of the playoffs. Colorado, I still don't think is a guarantee that they're going to be in, which is crazy. If I were a betting man, I'd still take Colorado over Nashville or Calgary at this point, but it is a bet.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, they do have a 5-point advantage right now as we get to the home stretch, and they have 3 games at hand on Calgary, but and Nashville. Do they want to? Do they not want to? But no, I think Colorado will get in pretty easily, but. I mean, Colorado could still get the 3rd in the Central. I mean, they're only they have 3 games on Winnipeg right now and only 1 point back. So there's no reason they can't still get into the top 3 in the West and the Central.
So coming out of the West at this point, who are your top 4? I was going to go top 2, but for me, that's really easy to name my top 2. Who are your top?
Top 4?
Yes. In no particular order.
I think as much as I hate to say it, I think Vegas has a good shot. Dallas, with their goaltending and enough offense, you know, that you have to consider them a threat right now. Edmonton, obviously, I think would be my leader in the clubhouse right now, with the big question mark in the back end on the goaltending side. And the fourth one's tough because I still think to get in, Colorado's going to be a force, but I'm not as sold on them as I was last year. But I would say Colorado's my fourth.
That's kind of where I'm at too. And even saying Colorado might not make the playoffs, they're still probably my four. I'm back and forth between them and LA. My easy two, like I wanted to go four because my easy two were Edmonton and Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with the three. So our top four, I think we actually agree on.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if our order would be agreed, but yeah, our at least the teams themselves are.
My number one is Edmonton, number two is Vegas, three is Dallas, and four is Colorado. If I put them in order.
Yeah, I probably would be the same order, honestly. Yeah, now I think about
it. The East. Whoo!
Well, the Stanley Cup champion's probably coming out of the East.
The 8th spot is Pittsburgh with 71 points. The 9th spot is Washington, Florida, Ottawa, and Buffalo with 68 points. Jesus. And Detroit's only 5 points behind that at 65.
And in the 7 spots, the Islanders at 72, and they've played more games than any of those teams.
Yeah.
So
when we're going and saying, hey, let's pick our top four here, like it was a kind of a stretch to come up with that out west. Here in the East, you need to actually consider 13 teams.
Yes and no.
Well,
I think there is a line. What's that?
I wouldn't say as your top four, but if you're considering for the playoffs, there's 13 teams that are in playoff contention. The top four, I think, are the top four in the standings.
Yeah,
and that's leaving out the Rangers, which holy shit, that's a hell of a fifth. But I think I have them at 5.
Yeah. And the team that would probably be the nominal 6 is the team that's won the East 3 straight years, the Lightning.
Yeah, I'm a Sabres fan. I don't give a fuck about them.
I know, but we have to completely factual, not at all subjective here, Jay. No, I mean the East is fucking low. Now I will say I think Tampa Bay is not as good this year as they have been. I think they're a step back from the top 4 of the East. And then the Rangers, I think, is a step below the top 4 as well, but not as big of a step. I'm not sold on the Rangers for some reason. I don't know why, but it might more to do with the top 4 teams are so good. Like, yeah, they got Pat Kane, Tammy Brenner, and all these guys. I'm like, yeah, but look at what Toronto has. Look at Boston has. Look at Carolina has. Look at what Jersey has, and they add Timo Meier. These 4 teams, that is brutal in the East. And
can't wait for the top 4 to play each other in the first round. All in one series, all 4 teams in one series. One winner comes out. The NHL will figure out a way.
I know that's fucking NHL. Go back to 1-8, man. What the hell? Who's your current East favorite? Obviously, there's.
Am I pick? Do you want my Stanley Cup prediction then?
I mean, we're talking about the future rest of the season, I guess. Yeah.
Then I have an all-Canadian Stanley Cup Finals.
You have Toronto and Edmonton.
Edmonton and Toronto.
Be a fun one. That would be a fun one. I would disagree slightly. I think Carolina's coming out, but
again, you're fucking throwing a dartboard with these.
Yeah. These 4 teams are so good.
Obviously,
we hate Boston, so we're not going to pick Boston. But what Boston's doing is insane.
I'm a fan of what Toronto did with their defensive core.
Agreed. I agree. Yeah, it's hard to say. I would definitely wouldn't be surprised to see that happen. And I think, and then you get playoff Connor McDavid versus Toronto Maple Leafs in the finals, and I'm not sure if the world would survive that.
Well, And here's the hope, and I haven't heard word on Austin Matthews from that block shot, which I think is leading the league for forwards with block shots. And like, do you want that from your superstar? But he does it anyway. So hopefully he's fine coming back for a strong playoff. Not hopefully like, oh, it hurts Buffalo's chances. I mean it from an actual hockey fan and not trying not to be biased with it.
Right. I agree. I haven't heard anything myself. Well, he returned to the game, so he must not be that bad.
Okay, let's take a look at our preseason predictions and where.
Ooh-wee mama.
How are we faring?
You know, all things considered, not horrible.
Good.
Depending, like earlier this season, it looked like we were going to be way off. Now it's like, okay, we're getting closer to being accurate. We have some that are way the fuck off, and we have some that are like spot on. Obviously, let's start in the Atlantic.
Okay.
Let's start in the tough one. Obviously, neither one of us had Boston doing what Boston's doing. As a matter of fact, I had them at 7th in the division. Holy shit, do I look stupid. Obviously, there's probably biases in play with that one.
Yeah, fuck them.
But huh?
I put them at 8th, didn't I?
No, I have you. You have them at 4.
Oh.
Yeah. Unless I miswrote or I wrote ours wrong way. We both, Toronto, Tampa Bay in the East, or we knew they were going to be playoff teams. Florida, I'm not surprised that they took a step back, but we both have them in the top 3 of the division, so they've fallen off farther than we both expected. But I guess with as much as they've lost, and that's not including the trade, because I still think they won the trade ultimately. So I think they lost.
So we got 2 out of the 3 in the top 3, and my 4th is in as well.
Yeah, your 4th is in. My 4th was Ottawa, and you gave me shit for that. Right now, that's looking pretty good right now. We both have Buffalo at 5th, which right now they're 4th, or they're 4th. So,
well, everyone's 4th.
Yeah, it's true.
Everyone but Montreal.
And then Detroit, Montreal on the back end of that. Montreal especially. No 2 surprises there that Montreal is terrible.
All right,
overall, not bad. Outside my massive miss on Boston.
All right. What about the Metro?
The metrosexual division.
This one was tough for me. I know I shit on Columbus, and then I forgot about the Johnny Hockey trade at the time, and then kind of regretted it, and now I'm sitting back going, I got it right anyway.
Yeah.
I think I put them up higher, though, didn't I?
I put them in the 5th spot. You have them in the 7th. We both have. You had Philly in the 8th spot. I had Philly in the 7th spot. I'm still not convinced Columbus is this bad. They shouldn't be this bad, and the fact they are is still surprised me. And I don't think they're going to be bad for long, especially if they get Connor Bedard.
We both missed Jersey a bit, didn't we?
We did. We both have them in the 6th spot. It feels like they end up being a year ahead of schedule, and good for them. And we just mistimed them. I'm not surprised they're this good. I'm surprised they're this good now.
So was the 1, 2, 3 Carolina, Rangers, Islanders for me?
You had Rangers, Carolina, Islander in that order.
Rangers first up.
So you had the Rangers above Carolina. I did not have the Islanders. I had the Islanders at 8th in the division. I did the stupid. I did the stupid and didn't trust them, and they fucking bit me in the ass again.
You were looking all right with that at the beginning of the season.
I was, and then they got Bo Horvat too now, and they I still don't think they'll make the playoffs because that game in hand is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We both have Philly as being bad, no surprise there. Washington, Pittsburgh. You had Pittsburgh, Washington 4-5. I have them 3-4. So I'm a little off with that, but and then Washington being down 6 right now, and they kind of and they sold off a bit in this year, so not bad, but not.
I'm looking pretty again. Metro too.
Yeah, as was happening in Atlantic, I had one massive miss, and the rest not bad.
All right, and off to the Central.
Well, we both had Colorado at 1,
Hey,
and that didn't happen.
oh,
I had Nashville at 2. That didn't happen.
I think I gave you shit for that too.
Yeah. I had St. Louis at 3. The Central wasn't my friend this year.
So your 1, 2, 3 is currently at 4, 5, 6.
It's currently at 4, 5, 6. I had Minnesota at 4. I think they're 2.
Yep.
And I had Dallas at 5. They're obviously at 1. I did have Chicago above Winnipeg. Oops. I didn't think Winnipeg was going to be good this year. I'm stunned by where they're at.
So
you had
what was my 1, 2, 3?
You had Colorado, Mini, and St. Louis. So you had
I got Minnesota in the right spot.
You have Minnesota in the right spot. I thought Minnesota would take a bit more of a step back than they did. You had Dallas at 4 and Winnipeg at 5, so you pretty on with Winnipeg, or at least in terms of being competitive. You had Nashville, Arizona, Chicago 6, 7, 8, and
so in the
St.
top
Louis.
4, the only one that I missed was St. Louis.
Yep.
All right, I'll take it.
Yep.
Oh, and do we even want to go over the Pacific?
Not really.
My 1, 2 was at 4, 5.
Yep. Mine, same here. We had the same 1, 2. I at least had Vegas at 3. You had Vancouver at 3.
Ouch.
Yeah. You did have the Kings at 4. We both had the Kings at 4, actually. I was higher on CL than you were. I had him at 5. You had him at 7. We both kind of missed on Anaheim. We have him in the 6th spot.
All right, 7. We didn't miss.
7, yeah. We both had San Jose last, so no surprises there.
Who did I have at 7 then? Seattle?
Seattle, yeah. You had Vegas at 5, Anaheim 6.
Yeah, that would be the one that I missed most on, but that was still, yeah, it was pretty bad. I was pretty bad with the Pacific.
It was better for me than the Central was.
Damn, dude, you
I
up then.
I missed the West entirely. I mean, there's still time. There is still time. Colorado can still win the division. Not that far out, but
What were our
holy
preseason Stanley Cup predictions?
honestly, I don't even remember anymore. I did not write that down.
Oh no, I can tell you who mine was preseason.
Who's that?
It's the fucking same as it is at this point.
Toronto, Edmonton.
Yep.
I feel like I took Colorado again. I just don't remember in the East who I took. I feel like I took probably Carolina or the Rangers, but honestly, I don't.
Those were the two that were jumping to mind for me. Like, which of these two did he take? Because I really feel that it was Carolina or the Rangers that you took.
Yeah. I think it was too, and I think it was Carolina. Honestly, I think it was Carolina, but I just don't. I don't know why I didn't write that down, but
yeah,
we'll go with
that. But
yeah, or I wrote it down somewhere else, and I just didn't have. I don't have the paper anymore. Maybe I accidentally threw it away. But
so my preseason was Toronto, Edmonton. It has not changed. Your preseason was probably Carolina, Colorado. And you wouldn't change on half of it.
No, I would still say Carolina. And honestly, if Colorado gets in, I'm not.
I wouldn't count them out, but they're not.
I wouldn't count. But they wouldn't be my favorite. No, if you ask me who my favorite was, we already talked about that. But I think Edmonton, Carolina is probably the bet I would go with right now.
If you were if you were Gary Bettman, who would you want in?
Oh, see, now I have to think Gary Bettman, so don't shoot me for this. Boston, Edmonton.
Boston, Edmonton? Oh, see, I don't have Edmonton in.
I mean, maybe Colorado, but there's not a lot of choices in the West that move a needle. Edmonton, you have Connor McDavid, and I think he would want Connor McDavid in the finals.
I don't think he gives two shits about players. He's looking at market.
True. Then in that case, it's going to be like LA.
Either Vegas or LA, and then Rangers.
Probably Vegas.
Rangers out of the East, and then my first thought is Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas. I kind of forgot about Vegas. They probably want Vegas. Honestly, you probably wouldn't mind having Seattle in there either, if we're being frank about it. To get that market up.
Well, if we're being frank about it, he's going to still figure out some kind of way to weasel in Arizona.
True. Yeah, Boston, the Rangers. Because anytime you got original six in there, they're going to be the. Except Toronto, because I'm not as convinced that NHL likes Toronto, but Boston and the Rangers, yeah, 100%. They would. They want one of those two from the East, I would say. I think Toronto has an uphill battle. Do we have Boston and the Kings in the finals? No, it was Rangers and the Kings. And the Kings won theirs too. I don't remember the other series of who they played.
Yeah, so what's been your thoughts on the season as a whole so far?
Good, exciting. Really need to get some of the officiating under control. Just there's been some of this weird shit. Historic. It's been a historic season for a lot of different reasons. What Connor's doing is just virtually unprecedented in the era. We haven't seen this since the Gretzky Lemieux days, and it's harder to do with what he's doing now. It's fun seeing Buffalo competitive. Even if they miss the playoffs, I would, as long as they didn't go on a massive losing streak, I consider this an absolute win for the Sabres at this point. No, it's been a fun season. It's been a good season for the most part, minus a couple random things.
So they have, 12, 6? They have 18 games remaining. Edmonton does.
Okay.
McDavid is 38 points away from 150. Does he get it?
I don't want to bet against him, but asking for 2 points a game that's a lot, even for McDavid. I mean, he's not even averaging that now, which is like saying, like, the fuck. But I think he has a good chance of doing it. I say he ends up just short. I think he ends up like a 145 range.
So they're at 68 games, correct?
They're at 64.
64. He's on pace for 156.
He's on pace for 156? Oh, my pacing was a bit wrong.
Does he hit 70 goals? He is not on pace for 70.
I don't think he hits 70. I think he gets to about 65 to 60, around 65. What's he at 52?
Yes.
Yeah, I think his goal scoring was a little bit, but I think his assists will ramp up.
He's on pace for the evil number. He's on pace for 66.
Okay.
I say if he's getting near that pace, I don't want to play Edmonton at the end of the fucking season if you're wanting to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I do agree with that too. And Draisaitl, poor Draisaitl gets forgotten. He's at like 42 this year. Well, he's 10 back. No, it's what Connor's doing is.
Okay, two of their last 5 games of the season are against Arizona.
Oh, God. Well, then he's going to hit 160. Goals.
Next game is Buffalo and Edmonton.
Ooh, man, first 8 wins.
What jerseys are Buffalo wearing?
I don't know. I know they just wore black against Tampa Bay, so I doubt they're wearing their blacks.
Well, if they go black and red, I'm gonna go for a 7-6 overtime shootout win for somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know I don't know what the uniforms they're gonna wear for Edmonton, but even still, they can still put up fucking 6-7 points against Edmonton's goaltending.
Yeah,
I mean,
and we do play pretty well against Connor. I'm gonna limit him to 4 points in the game, 3 of them assists. Fuck you.
limiting, he says.
I think this is a good game against him.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Leon's at 41 goals at 42. Pasternak's 44, Tage is 42. Now that is the real question. Or that's another question, not the real question. Does anyone else hit 60?
No.
I think it's possible. I agree. I don't think they do, but I think it's possible.
No, I'm gonna go with second place finishes where Connor currently is at.
I feel like it's gonna be higher than that. Pasta's already at 44. He only needs 8 goals
I mean,
to get that.
it could be. I mean, I'm fucking guessing at here. I don't have a magic 8 ball that I'm looking into trying to read.
No, but I think you're being conservative is what I'm saying. I think it's gonna be above that. I think it'll be 56. I think that'll be my official guess is 56. I think it'll be Pasta's at 56. I think
Tage Thompson is going to be 56 then. Okay.
I mean, 14 more. He's got Columbus again at Columbus. I know they just lost to Columbus, but it's gonna be the final game of the season.
Well, then that's 7. He's at 49 in just one more game.
Yeah. Oh man, Erik Karlsson has 61 assists on the season.
Yeah.
For fucking San Jose. Quinn Hughes is at 54. I didn't realize he was that high.
Dude, he wants out of Vancouver, man.
Can't blame him.
I mean, he's basically flat saying it. And he's one of your young stars that, he should be a cornerstone piece to your team. And he's basically just saying it in press conferences at this point. It's not a fucking good look in Vancouver.
No, Vancouver, I am not sure what happened there, but it has quickly became a dumpster fire. I mean, it kind of was before, but it just seems like it's not getting much better. Manny Bernier still leads all goalies in points at 44.
He leads all goalies in points?
All rookies, sorry.
Is Pettersson's contract up at the end of the year?
For Vancouver?
Yeah.
If it is, he's going to be I think he signed something like a year or two ago, but maybe. Let me look. Good old Cap Friendly. No, he has, after next season, he's a restricted free agent.
So Pettersson has one more season in Vancouver. Do you think he finishes that season in Vancouver next year? At their current rate, no fucking way. No way.
Surprised. I can't imagine that he would want to stay and B. You're seeing teams now trading restricted free agents, so
yeah,
I'd be stunned.
It's going to be another Matt Tkachuk, but they are not going to get a Matt Tkachuk return.
Or Timo Meier, for that matter. Yeah, I can see him. Yeah, they're terrible. This is not whatever is going on in Vancouver. He's at 78 in 60 games, 78 points, and you just don't hear anything about him because Vancouver's such a mess.
Okay, so here's another one for you. Over under of 100. John Gibson's number of saves over second place.
Man, he's gonna. There's a guy I wish kind of got traded for his own sake.
Yeah.
Where's he at right now with that?
Well, if you're looking, you're taking the game out.
You're right. Okay, I'm not gonna look. I think he's over that.
He is under.
Oh, well.
1456. Hellebuck has 1393.
He's not as close as I thought it would be.
Yeah, it's 56, 63 more.
Yeah,
is all he has, and that's basic. That's only one game.
Yeah. But yeah, no. Poor John Gibson. That dude. Oh man, that dude is gotta be feeling some kind of way.
Not a good way.
Yeah. And he's
okay. Buffalo has dropped all the way to third in goals per game.
okay. I mean, they've had a couple of really bad outings, so I'm not.
2 is Boston. 1 is Edmonton.
I mean,
just to let you know how much they've been putting on the goals here as of late. Buffalo had a good, healthy lead on Edmonton for a long while.
Yeah. Oh no, Edmonton's going berserk.
And what is New Jersey doing this year? They're 4th.
Yeah, New Jersey is not the New Jersey of
Buffalo,
old.
Jersey finally taking advantage of their youth, man.
Mm-hmm. It's nice to see because both of them has had multiple first number 1 overall picks, high draft picks. Jersey's obviously a step ahead right now, but Buffalo, really no reason not to think Buffalo's going to be there as soon as next year.
Okay, I'm giving you another over-under. Goal differential. Boston Bruins over second place. 50.
You talking about current or at the end of the season?
Current.
Yeah, they're probably. I'm going to go under because that's still a lot, but man, they got to be close.
52. They're a plus 106. Jersey's at 54.
Jeez, 106.
It's stupid.
Yeah, that's. I guess when you only lose 13 games in a season, that's easy to do. Does Edmonton hit 300 goals?
What are they currently at?
248. I remember seeing that yesterday. So I don't know if they played today, but
248. So they need 50 goals in
18 games. 20 games.
Yeah.
I'd be curious how many teams have hit 300 goals in the last decade.
They need under 3 per game to get it. They're currently at 3.9. They'd have to slow down a shit ton to not get it.
Well, shit, then probably Boston and Buffalo probably could hit, and maybe even Jersey could probably hit that, could potentially hit that number too. I think they're far more unlikely, but
Trying to think if there's anything else here. I'm looking over, see if there's something that's like just ridiculously standing out.
over under off-season rule changes that Bettman tries to put in place to slow down offense.
What's your over-under at?
3.
Way over. Yeah, I don't even have an idea yet. That's a future video, but
yeah, no, it is.
Anything else you want to cover in this one?
No, I think we've covered what we've needed to cover.
All right. Let us know in the comments down below what your Stanley Cup predictions are, what you thought of the trade deadline, and how many goals Tage Thompson is going to get before the end of the season. And until the next video, deuces!